think that song is good. How about this one?
I am who I say I am, and you are who you say you are, and sometimes we are wrong about who we think other people are. That's okay. Don't assume. You can always just ask, which pronouns do you use? He, him, she, her, they, them, these, er. Let me know, which one do you prefer?
None.
What the hell is that?
Oh, my Lord. The obsession with, gender's a construct. Okay. I don't know what to say about that. It's a construct, Chad. It's everything's performative.
Gender's a construct, and so is sanity.
Yeah. It's all performative. That was what that Judith lady said back in the day in the 50s or 60s. Like, gender's a construct. It's all performative. You're performing what society wants you to be. You're performing these things. And why this matters isn't this, the sports thing, which, by the way, seems like this could be changing, too.
Cheek swabs and dry blood spot tests for female track and field athletes have been approved by World Athletics, says that governing body's president, saying it's to maintain the integrity of competition. That revives testing discontinued in the 1990s for the presence of a gene that indicates whether the athlete has a Y chromosome present in males. Sebastian Coe says the International Olympic Committee needs to take leadership in the transgender debate instead of letting each individual sport decide their own regulations.
Absolutely. How about this? Cup check.
Cup check.
There you go. We know now. But it matters because not whether or not, the women's sports, it's about allowing groups of people to tell you this is what you need to do or else. It's the cultural Marxism. It's the lunacy. Most Democrats, by the way, they think this stuff's absurd. They do. They think it's absurd. They think it's ridiculous. It's only the fringe loonies out there who battle all day and it's about women in sports and men in sports, blah. No, it's about the insanity of and I'll tell you this, the gays, they're not fans of this either. My buddy who was my producer of my national show, was at Stonewall. That's kind of like where the civil rights movement began for the gay community. They say it's one letter in our alphabet that is a mess. He says it, not me. He talks about it. How crazy it is. But he says it's pushed on people, and that's the thing that's wrong. And you're told or else. As if you better do this or else. Now, women's sports, here's a perfect example of a person who's lost the plot. And this is somebody who's pushing an agenda, even though they're not a part of it in many ways. And they're pushing something that's ridiculous. And I agree with her. I would love to get women out of women's sports so men can play and it would be more enjoyable.
Why the actual am I supposed to care whether or not women are playing sports? Why do I care what kind of women are playing sports? Whether or not they're women who are trans, whether or not they're women who are transitioning, whether or not they're women who are intersex, whether or not they're women who are young, old. How many do I give? Oh, the woman who happened to have made it through him by crawling through the muck to become her feminine self. She won? She won the sport thing? How dare I? I should be upset because she started in a different place. No, I shouldn't let her cross the finish line as a woman. God forbid she be herself when she wins.
Oh, wow. Kids, if you think, well, man, do you have anything else? Oh, she's got more to say. Oh, yeah.
Why should I care? Who plays in women's sports? You don't watch women's sports. You don't watch women's sports. Why do you care who plays them? Get the out of our locker rooms. Get the out of women's health. Get the out of our lives. Every single woman is a woman. All women are women, regardless of genitalia. Gender's a construct. Why the actual am I supposed to care whether or not women are playing sports?
That really got out of hand fast.
It did. And the whole thing about...
maybe she should box a man.
Maybe she should. The whole thing about, though, the you shouldn't care, you should just deal with it. It goes back to, a 15-year-old girl who feels uncomfortable. First of all, every kid feels uncomfortable in their body at that age.
Oh, yeah.
You shouldn't have to worry about whether or not you can sympathize with a kid who's 15 and they're going through their gender issue and their mental, but placating them and then telling the girls that they have to do this or else somehow something's wrong with them. Where if anybody else walks in there as a boy, oh my God, People lose their mind. It's ridiculous. And it's that issue right there. It's not sane. It's about forcing people to believe something, to go against your own beliefs, what you see with your own eyes, that people have a problem with. And speaking of insanity, kids, did you know that segregation was back according to the nuts on the internet?
Segregation is no longer illegal. Dude, when are people going to realize his idea of making America great again is de-evolving us?
What? De-evolving us. Did you guys know that? Well, guess what? Luckily, we have a lawyer to tell us what's going on.
It's time to speak up.
She's white, by the way.
They're rolling back segregation. They are rolling back segregation. It is now no longer illegal to require separate facilities for people of different races. To be clear, the Civil Rights Act of 1964 is still in place and has not been disbanded.
So right there, you've just destroyed your own argument. I just want to let you know this. You have just ruined your own argument, but I'm going to let you keep talking because in the middle of this, you start crying.
But we know what their goal is. There is always step one in a process, and we absolutely know what their goal is. They are rolling back segregation. What are we going to do about it? What are we going to do about it? Because this time, white people, we are the ones that are going to be on the front crossing that bridge. Do you hear me? We are the ones that are going to stand in the streets. Our black countrymen have done their time at the front of the lines, and it is our turn. It is our turn to face the water hoses and to face the dogs and to face the tear gas because we have let this happen. Not on my watch.
Nope.
Not while there is breath in me.
Nope.
Will we go back? Is anybody out there with me? Go love your neighbor.
The hell is wrong with you, lady?
Oh, my God.
This was all based on the fact that they got rid of language in something that no longer needed it because it was the Civil Rights Act, and they just moved that out. And it says in there, too, that's because we have the Civil Rights Act and we don't need it. No, everything else is you can't segregate. Are you kidding me?
The left has done more to segregate people than anybody else has with their stupid safe spaces and not allowing whites into certain areas. They're the ones that have been basically demanding resegregation.
Of course they have, because we want people to feel that they have their own space where it's safe and blah, blah. That is just nuts. And that lady there lost the plot. First of all, she juxtaposed her position within 2 seconds.
Yes.
She just wanted to remind everybody that segregation is back and then remind everybody, except for the part where it's illegal. And when I was looking at because comments are the greatest thing in the world. Because they're like, other people are like, there's going to be black and white drinking fountains. And everybody to a T goes, when's the last time you went to a drinking fountain?
Well, they'll have black and white ATMs.
I mean, when's the last time you went when's the last time it's like, I got to go to the whites only drinking fountain?
If you get an Uber, it's going to have to be a black or a white Uber.
Oh, probably. But the whole thing is, there's a perfect example of you read something on the internet. And like when I was talking to these people out here, somebody said that they haven't listened for a couple days, have been gone. They said, did you go out to the Tesla? I said, yes. And I said, the thing I learned out there that I thought I already knew, but talking to other people, because somebody said earlier, you make fun of the left. I said, I make fun of everybody because it's great. I've been making fun of these idiots all day for texting the wrong people. Bunch of morons they are. Somebody get your head out your butt. Nobody bothered to check who JG was? Is it JG Wentworth? Well, he knows the plans, but he also got us a loan.
That structured settlement got sold.
Structured settlement. Call JG with 877 cash now. But when I was out there talking to people, they go to their echo chamber and they read whatever it is, and they see something like this, and in the article it says segregation is back. And then you read an article and it doesn't say that. But all they needed was the headline. And now it's burned. The indelible imprint of segregation being back is here. And that this is what MAGA wanted. This is the playbook from 2025 or whatever the hell it was called, Project 2025, which I got a lot of that out there. This is all a playbook from Project 2025. I'm like, really? Well, what's the playbook? Like, what exactly is, well, he's ignoring orders. I said, what orders has he ignored? Well, he sent those people over there without, and I said, has he sent anybody else since? No. Okay. But it hasn't happened. And it's a fear thing. But we have this weird thing in our mind where the first thing we hear, we tend to believe as the gospel, and getting us to figure out, getting us to unwind that is so hard. And I don't know what it is, but that person believes that there's segregation. And no matter how much you tell them and show them that they were just fixing the wording in contracts about, and these were people who were going to use federal contractors, that they no longer needed to have that because they've got all the other protections, that somehow that meant segregation. And it wasn't one, but it was many. And what do you do? Have you met America? If you've been outside, you've met some of America. I mean, Daniel Tosh was right. I don't know how 90% of the people have a job. But we can't just have 10% working. Can't do all the heavy lifting. A lot of you chiming in about that lady. She was spectacular. She was awesome. You're right, though, Bell. So many of those things, like colleges, like this is a black-only space or a Hispanic-only space or a gay space or a space for this or a space for that. How is that bringing anybody together? We're going to have a black-only graduation. That was pretty popular for a while.
That and proms and things like that.
Yeah, I mean, how does that bring us together again? How is that? It's like the DEI thing. Nothing says racism like more racism. I know I'm going to fix racism. More racism.